Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Packers Daily. Thank you for your patience. Sorry, I was MIA yesterday. Lots going on here at Shea Nagler. But it's good to see everybody in the comments already bitching and moaning. You guys never disappoint. The news, such as it is, coming out this morning, Adam Schefter reporting, and various other people confirming the NFL and the NFLPA have agreed on a increase in the salary cap floor, the minimum. Now, I saw a lot of kind of confusion at first, but this is not the cap. The actual cap number is yet to be determined, but the minimum that it can be is 180. Before it had been 175. So, at the minimum, teams will be operating with 180 million as the salary cap. That's the floor. We'll see where it goes if it continues to increase. From there, I thought it interesting the wording in the memo about their, looking at what 2020 was and their expectations for revenue in 2021 as far as attendance goes. Crazy to think they're already talking about, undoubtedly what game day experiences are going to be like around the league and how many fans will be allowed, full stadiums, half full stadiums, what have you. Those are all things that the league and the PA are dealing with. Meanwhile, general managers like Brian Gutekunst are trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do as far as contracts go, extensions, cutting players, etc. That all obviously will play out here in the upcoming weeks. And the big story that I can't go 5 seconds without somebody asking about, so I'll just get it out of the way right here at the top. J.J. Watt is still out there. I know initially it had been reported he wanted to take the weekend before diving into his suitors, as it were, and now it's, been a number of days, and JJ's still out there tweeting that free agency is wild. JJ, I'm just here to tell you, buddy, I want you to come home. Just come home, man. I understand the allure of going to play with your brothers or some team that may offer you some ridiculous contract. I get all that. I understand, man. But you spent the last decade plus talking about Wisconsin and about how special a place it is and how wonderful it was to grow up there and how the Green Bay Packers were your childhood team and your dream and et cetera, et cetera. Just come home, buddy. Just come home. Come home and be a legend. It's that simple. All of that said, JJ, I'm ready to get my heart broken again. I know you're not coming to Green Bay. I know you're not choosing the Packers, and I understand it. I totally get it. I'm going to put on this face of like, oh, you should have chose the Pack, but I get it, man. I get it. Going to play with your bros, going to play for money, because that's what's going to happen. I know you're not coming to Green Bay. Green Bay can't pay you. It's all about the dollars, man. Chase your dream of making sure you have generational wealth for multiple children and grandchildren. I totally understand it. Hello to everybody in the comments. Hope you're all well. Nicholas starts us off with a super chat. J.J. Watt could be our Reggie White minus 100 sacks and the dying part. Damn, that's harsh, man. He's not going to be Reggie White. He could be Julius Peppers. No doubt about that. But he's not Reggie White. Preach, Nags. Thanks, Zeke. I will. So when are we going to sign Jamal Williams to that massive contract? Big B. Big B, I got some bad news for you, buddy. Come home. Right, Peter. Exactly. I don't care about free agents. You don't care about free agents. That's interesting. I don't care about free agents. It will all fall the way it does. I'm just ready to see A.J. Dillon run over defensive backs. Justin, salute to that. I'm down. Bill's still tuning in from Iowa. What's up? Hello from snowy New York City. I swear to God, New York has become Narnia. Always winter, never Christmas. Snow every other day. It's crazy. Any chance Kevin King becomes a Joe Barry reclamation project? I don't think Joe Barry's going to have a chance to get his hands on Kevin King because I think Kevin King's going to walk. We'll see, though. Free AJ Dillon will feast next season. I agree. Free Aaron Jones. Haha, what the hell was that all about? Well, I think Aaron Jones wants to play and wants to get paid. And he's probably going to go someplace and do just that. Brandy, what's up? Nags, the offensive scheme helped the wide receivers produce. Is there a version of the defensive scheme that makes the cornerbacks better? Not in the way that the scheme on offense does. That's why it's one of the toughest positions to play. It's very reactionary, and you have to have fluid hips, and you've got to be able to run with guys, and you've got to be able to jam guys and get physical, and you've got to be able to tackle. There's lots that goes into it. Now, there may be a case to be made about how much man you're allowed to play versus zone, having eyes on the quarterback and or the receiver, um, what you're allowed to do as far as within the structure of the scheme. If you are doing lots of man match principles where you got two guys in an area and you're both reading route combinations, the rules about who takes who, things of that nature may help in some capacity. But for the most part, you got to be able to ball, man. You got to be able to recognize route combinations, route concepts. You got to know where, okay, it comes down to film study, your work ethic, playing your technique, and then your physical traits. And that's what corner is all about. Sherman or Peterson, better fit? I highly doubt the Packers call either one of them, but for my money, I would probably say Peterson. I wouldn't mind Richard Sherman. I think he's still a really good player, but yeah, I think that's probably not the route the Packers will go. Michael. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Michael. How are you? Hope you're well. Aaron, do you think the Packers will rework Rodgers' deal? Yes, I do. Like we talked about at the top of the stream here, we now have a floor for the salary cap, but we don't have the cap itself. And I don't think Rodgers' deal gets done until we know what that number is. And I think a lot of people around the league are waiting on making lots of moves. We've seen a few here and there, but I think a lot of the bigger moves are kind of on hold until teams know exactly what the cap is. That's not to say they might not get ahead of it, start conversations with, say, Rodgers representatives or players in general, but I do think they'll get something done with Rodgers. What that is going to be very interesting. I know Zach Cruz over at Packers Wires talked a lot about this. In regards to what they do with Rodgers' deal should be pretty telling as far as what they think about Jordan Love possibly playing sooner rather than later. And that's not necessarily like, if they do X, if they guarantee 2 or 3 years that, they're going to trade Love or whatever, but it will make things a bit clearer as far as their intentions when it comes to 12. Did you see the article on Acme highlighting the newfound success of Blake Martinez and B.J. Goodson? I did not. B.J. Goodson. It was funny, though. Paul Noonan of Acme Packing Company. I can't remember what game it was. I think it was the Bills game when the Browns were playing on national television. And I made a joking tweet about B.J. Goodson leaving the Packers and being a tackling machine. And then, Paul, always at the ready, tweeted something like, not all tackles are created equal. Because, yeah, Goodson was extremely productive in Cleveland. There's no doubt about it. As Blake Martinez was here in New York. No question about it. And, Blake was clearly productive here. He led not only the Packers, but the league in tackles a number of years. But, production doesn't automatically make you a good linebacker. I understand seeing guys leave and be productive in other places and kind of hitting, right? And we've seen it at corner, especially as Packers fans. But, yeah, it's not like they are great losses by any stretch of the imagination. Love Blake. Good guy. Didn't know BJ very well. But, yeah, I'm not really pining for their loss. Cold morning in West Virginia, Aaron. Snow poured all night. Yeah, well, snow is all up in here today, here in New York. Do you think we might be in the market for guys like A-Rob, Fuller, other wide receivers, especially if no JJ? No. I think those guys are going to get paid big money, and I don't think it's going to be in Green Bay. Closest Fuller was ever going to get to the Packers was when they offered that 4th-round pick to the Texans, and then the Texans turned it down. That's as close as he'll probably get. Now, maybe somehow, because Coach has a very small piece of history with Fuller, maybe he makes a pitch to Goody and Ball magically works something out contract-wise, but I would be shocked. I tend to think those guys are going to get big money in places that aren't Green Bay. Nuclear Family, thank you for the super chat. How do teams have $70 million in cap space if there is a cap floor? Also, how specialized are OCs and DCs? Don't want this, but could MLF call defensive plays? Well, I don't think Matt would ever call defensive plays, but he will certainly be on the headset suggesting things. I want man here. I want zone. I want this. I want that. Now, I don't think it's going to be hyper kind of, overseer level, but I do think he'll be chiming in. As far as cap space, if there's a cap floor, the cap floor is spread out over a number of years. You have to spend X amount through 3 years. That's how it was when they signed not this latest CBA, but the one before it. And I know some of that was extended in the latest CBA, and then the pandemic happened, and then there was an adjustment to it, etc. So things have really kind of evolved in that regard. But the initial idea of the salary cap floor was to be spread out over a number of years, and that was frustrating to some free agents because teams love not spending their money. Owners gotta keep that cash on hand, but the floor is traditionally, or has been in the past. I haven't looked at the language, the exact language, since the COVID update, but traditionally it's spread out for a couple of years. What's Jake Ryan up to? I don't know. Somebody said here, I think it was Duke, said he got an interception with Jake Ryan on Madden a couple weeks ago. So shout out to Jake Ryan and Madden. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Okay, here's the plan. Time machine, go back in time, draft TJ, back to 2021. JJ wants to play either in Wisconsin or with his brother, boom, or maybe not. Dustin, I like this plan. Let's get the flux capacitor working. Wrap it up. Charlene, what's up? How are the Philippines? Hope you're doing well. Bummed for missing happy hour yesterday. Sending a super chat to indicate sign of life. Cheers to everyone watching. Charlene, thank you so much. Thank you for your continued support on Patreon, and thanks for hopping on here for Packers Daily. Sorry you missed happy hour. It was a good time. Corey was very active. It's crazy how J.J. Watt possibly signing with the Packers has brought Corey to life. Corey's not an off-season guy. He's not a Badgers guy. But J.J. Watt possibly signing with the Packers has, energized him in an off-season where he's never involved in stuff. Once, that last game is done, Packers season is over, we do the last transplants, and then I don't ever hear from him about the Packers until the draft, essentially. But this year, my goodness, that man is every day with something. It's crazy. Nags, will somebody pay Kevin King starter money? I tend to think so. I mean, obviously starter money is a subjective term, but I think someone's going to pay him. I do think he'll find a deal out in free agency. I know the end of the first half of the NFC Championship game will linger and be undoubtedly part of discussions with the agents, but there's plenty of good tape that Kevin has that they can point to, and I don't think someone's going to break the bank for him, but I do think he'll get money to play. Yes, probably start someplace in the league. Much love for all you do. Thank Matt Martin. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Why does Corey hate the Badgers? Corey doesn't hate the Badgers. He just doesn't care. There's a big difference. He can't tackle. Who's that? Who can't tackle? I don't know who that is. He. It just says he. I don't know. Favorite game from 2020? Thomas? Good question. Favorite game? Probably the Tennessee game. In the snow. Quality opponent. Everyone coming into that game was talking about how Derrick Henry was going to run all over the Packers, and Packers took care of business. National primetime game. Always got to love it. Go Bucky. Go Bucky. O-line starters if 63 leaves. Yeah, that's a good question. Probably Bakhtiari, Jenkins, Patrick, maybe Runyon, and then Turner. That would be my guess. But we'll see. Kevin King can't tackle. So what? The league is littered with corners who can't tackle. We're still starters and get paid. It doesn't stop guys from getting employment at all. What's my take on the Andy Herman experiment? What's the Andy Herman experiment? Is he creating players in a lab? Someone please tell me. I don't know what the Andy Herman experiment is. Favorite games, both Bears games. Bears still suck. There you go. I like that. Would I commit to Aaron Rodgers? Ooh, Danny, now there's a question. Well, there's a commitment. He has a contract. He should honor it. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I would guarantee the next 2 years. And with the thought being you watch how Jordan Love develops, and if Jordan is ready after 1 year, yes, you're going to trade Rodgers, and it's going to be a bite on your cap, but you bite that bullet knowing that you had insurance, which is essentially what Jordan Love was drafted for in the first place. To to be insurance if, Rodgers continued to quote unquote decline, although we know he wasn't really declining. He had a down year. My down years are better than most guys' career years, etc. We all know all this. But yeah, I would, like I said, guarantee some money these next couple years, and then see how Jordan develops. I wouldn't add on years though. That's just me. I do think they probably will end up adding a year on to the contract in an effort to bring down his cap hit this year in 2021. That would be my guess. But that's all it is a guess. Checking in from the UK and Ireland. What's up, UK Packers? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, man. When will we know if we got that 17th game, and who will the Packers play? I would suspect that should. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I know they have. It's not official yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't happen. As for timing, I would think whenever the next owners meeting is, which I believe would be in the spring. It's usually. I'm trying to remember the timeline. It's so weird this year because there's no combine, which is how I kind of. That's the kind of the tent pole I always kind of do everything off of. So I know there's usually an owners meeting. I think it's after the combine, and that's when I suspect that will get finalized. The Andy Herman Experiment sounds like a bad prog rock band. Yeah, that's a good point. Hurt Kuhn is coming out of retirement. I don't believe that's so. Although I did speak with John yesterday, and he's going to come on Cheesehead TV, I think next week sometime. So be on the lookout for that for a Let's Talk Football video. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lane Taylor come back in 2021. I think there's a chance. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but coming off another injury, gotta think he would be amiable to sticking around on I don't want to call it a cheap deal, but a team-friendly contract. He certainly had a good summer in camp, and you hated to see him go down in week one. It's never a sure thing when a guy's coming back from injury that he's going to pick up where he left off. But if he can, and if he does show up and pick up where he left off, then that would be fantastic for the Packers. I'm operating under the assumption that he probably won't be back, but I'd love to see it happen. Absolutely. Thoughts on Linsley? Gone? Most likely, Justin. I hate it. Absolutely hate it, but that's the business of football. There are a lot of mouths to feed. They're going to undoubtedly try to extend Devontae Adams this offseason. They've already paid Bakhtiari and Clark. You can't pay everybody. Corey missed 3 weeks this year, and the offense really didn't miss a beat. I can't, you want to pay good players. Love Corey, what he does on the field and off the field in the community. He is true Packer people, but I'll be very surprised if the Packers offer him a contract. Whether JJ signs with the Packers or not, it'll tell me more about him than it will about our team. Yeah, but what does it tell you? That he wants to make a living? Like, I don't know, man. Like I said earlier, I get it. I totally get it. It would be a storybook if he came to Green Bay, no doubt about it. But the reality of the situation is he only has probably this one last chance to make some real money. You got to take that. Totally get it. I would never begrudge a man for that. So it is what it is. Who do you see being in the backfield with A.J. Dillon next year, a rookie running back or somebody already in the league? Walter, I think Patrick Taylor has a shot to surprise some people. He ended the year. I know he came off of non-injury list and then practiced for 3 weeks, and then they put him on injury reserve. Or no, I think they put him on non-football injury. But he's somebody I'm really intrigued by. I know a lot of people are still pining for the Dexter Williams experience. I am not one of them. I think they'll try to move on by drafting someone on day 3. Maybe there's a free agent kind of lingering out there 3 or 4 weeks into free agency that they sign as insurance / backup kind of rotational guy. But I would suspect A.J. Dillon gets the lion's share of the work, and they'll see what they have as far as the draft and picking over the end of free agency, so to speak. Why does it seem that the cornerback position is in constant flux? Is it? Well, they just come off a good run of having King and Jair as their guys for 3 years here. I understand, King's been hurt a lot, so maybe that's why. But, they've taken a lot of corners early, and a lot of them haven't panned out. Some of them panned out other places. But, that's the league, man. You need a lot of them. There's a lot in and out. I think the cornerback spot is in flux in a lot of teams and a lot of cities. You know, again, can't pay everybody. Packers O-line looked terrible against Jacksonville without Linsley. I'm not so sure I agree with your police work there. I think that, yeah, they struggled to get things going in the ground game. There's no doubt about that. But they struggled, for a stretch there, even with Corey. I don't think that was a loss of Linsley that made that game as hard to watch as it was. How is her puppy going in the snow? Oh, Mick, that's adorable. Will Raven Green be back? If healthy, seems like a solid player. Dan, that's the key, though, right? If healthy, he's had real trouble staying on the field. I love Raven. I love what he brings to the defense. At least I did in Pettin's scheme. Who knows how they see him fitting in the new scheme? I hope he's back. Like I said, I like his physicality. He's just got to stay healthy. He's got to stay on the field. Everyone is talking about JJ, rightfully so. Anyway, they took a look at Von Miller, or is it? Anyway, they took a look at Von Miller. Did they? I have no idea. Von's not even available yet. Or is the need not there? They might. I mean, I think if he became available, they would. They'd probably make the call. But again, that's a guy who's going to get paid, I would suspect. Can't imagine the Packers making any kind of real offer there. Stanley, thanks for the super chat. What do you think about Desmond King at slot? I mean, sure. that's kind of fantasy football at this point. But yeah, sure, why not? Did we cut Hansen, the center from Oregon? No, Ben. He's still on the team. He'll undoubtedly be given a chance to compete this offseason and in camp. Maybe he rises up and grabs the center spot. That's a possibility. But no, he's still on the team. All right, guys, I'm going to have to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day. Again, I'm sorry I missed you guys yesterday. Thanks to the Patreon members who showed up for happy hour last night. It's always a ton of fun. If you'd like to join us on Patreon and support everything we do at Cheesehead TV, it's patreon.com/CheeseheadTV. All we ask is $5 a month. It supports everything we do. If you can't do that, I completely understand. Please just hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Go Pack Go.